I am on air now, and I am happy to see so many empty seats here because numerous interested people might join us during the presentation. But I am also happy about those of you who have come here to hear more about shedding a new light on learning. Thanks for introducing myself, but I am also here on behalf of licht.de. And we've heard a lot about licht.de today. I'm the head of licht.de. So our joint work for the light industry, informing about good light, what is good light, in-depth information about topics that are important for the lighting industry and for the users of light. This is our topic. This is what we've been doing for numerous years now, hopefully very successful. So, and if you need more information, you'll find them at our stand. In the expert association I'm also active. And this afternoon, I want to introduce a completely different topic to you. Shedding a new light on learning is the topic of my presentation. We've got the Lichtwissen brochures where we provide all our knowledge for you, where we provide you with all of our knowledge. And this brochure has been published just recently. You can also download it on the internet for free. But it's definitely worth downloading it. You can also get a printed version, but the circulation, the printed version is very low, obviously, nowadays. So this is about lighting in schools and other educational institutions. So on our website, you'll find information about, you'll find a presentation which is called Shedding a New Light on Learning. And I would like to give you a short teaser of this presentation now. What can you achieve with good lighting in educational institutions? So I brought you some slides to show you what we have to say about light in educational institutions. Of course, I did not bring all the slides today, but I just tried to focus on the most important bullet points. And I'm going to quote them without reading them out. But of course, if we talk about schools, we need to talk about learning in general, lifelong learning, rooms for learning, spaces for learning. This is our topic, and schools have changed a lot. The elderly amongst us know the traditional schools with benches, 2 students per bench looking up front, what the teacher is writing on the board, on the blackboard. Today, learning is different. It has changed a lot. There are clusters, there are classrooms plus learning landscapes, and trying to make learning more attractive for young people. But the lighting has to adapt, of course, and it also needs to become more creative. But light quality and energy efficiency still plays an important role when it comes to lighting design. Learning is a lifelong process. Learning spaces are not only meant for kids and students, but are also meant to attract elderly people, adults and senior citizens. It's never too late to start learning something new. What are our topics? As industry initiative, of course, we are a brand neutral initiative, but we want to bring together the most important points that are important for us as companies and for the entire industry. On the right side, you see the quality criteria of lighting. It's not only about the glare level or limitation of glare and illuminance. It's also about emotional light effects. How can you make the rooms look more beautiful with light installations? It's about non-visual light effects that help us to support us, for example, when we get tired, to wake us up when we get tired, and thus enabling us to learn in the evening as well, or to get to have a good start into the day. Blue light plays an important role, for example, and all those factors have to be taken into account when doing a proper light design. This is what you can see here in this cloud chart. So make sure you don't forget these factors. Learning synchronizes our inner clock, and if you get different light scenes at different times of class, and this is, of course, a huge advantage when learning. We also talk about safety when we talk about lighting. Of course, in schools, kids are playing around in the schools, and there is always the risk that one of the lamps might fall down. This shouldn't happen, but it happens from time to time. And somebody might get hurt. So we need to make sure that there are no sharp edges, for example. This is all included in the presentation when you, for example, want to do a lighting design for the schools. Of course, we also listed the basic facts. What is the most important requirement when it comes to lighting a classroom? It needs to be glare-free. We need to avoid strong contrasts. If we look up front to the teacher as students, as pupils, frontal lessons, we need light bands that are located in parallel direction to the windows. Flexible seating arrangement. This can help to create certain atmospheres in the classroom. We also talk about luminance. About lighting levels, 500 lux are planned for normal classrooms. For young, or 300, it has been 300 lux for primary schools. Yes, it was back then when we had the old DIN standard 3035. This was called lighting with artificial light, and it was about artificial light design. Yes, 300 lux was the key value there. But today we said, well, for learning, 500 lux are required, but it can be artificial light and daylight. This is what the DIN standard 12464 states. So you do not generate the entire light artificially, but you can also use daylight to achieve this value. So 500 lux. Can be increased up to 750 lux. Those are the modified values, but you can find those values in our guidelines for 12646 that you can also get from licht.de, download from licht.de. What do you have to take into account talking about screens and whiteboards, monitors, blackboards? Before it was green, so it was important that you could read what the teacher wrote there with the chalks. So from a light perspective, this has become a bit more challenging with the monitors, whiteboards, and screens. So you need to illuminate it in the right distance. So it's easy for the students to read what's written on them. So we provide you with all the necessary values that you need to do a proper light design for a school for even illumination. So if you enjoy listening to my presentation, I could go on forever. I could tell you a lot about all the learning spaces that we got in schools in detail. So you can also hire me if you want me to do this, your company. Licht.de lists all the different rooms that you'll find in educational institutions. I selected the green ones as an example for my presentation today, but you will find the details also for libraries, for conference rooms, for traffic routes, and so on and so forth. What we do for educational reasons, if we, for example, present a concept, and that's important for architects as well, I need to get a rough idea of the lighting installation for the room. So a kind of an idea of an arrangement, how to position the lights. It's brand neutral. It's very simple. And here you find an overview of different lamps in linear form, spot form, zebra-like lines, lines between the shelves of libraries, outdoor lighting. So those basic sketches are very good to give you a rough idea when you do your lighting design. It's also a very good contribution, or very good information that you find in our licht.de brochure. Important, what's next? Jürgen Waldorf already mentioned it. It's important for us working in the light industry and for everyone who needs a more flexible lighting installation. And that's energy efficient, and that is also suitable at any time of the day. We need light management. We need the right light at the right time. But it also needs to react or adapt to daylight. And for energy reasons, it makes sense to reduce artificial lighting if we get enough daylight in the room. Daylight sensors can measure the daylight that's coming into a room, and they can inform the artificial lighting system to dim, to reduce intensity. Of course, this works with light management technologies that are offered by the industry, but we just need to integrate them in our design. We need to make sure that we point out the benefit. From an energy point of view, we can save energy by using daylight and by doing proper light management. So if we don't need light, the light can be switched off. And there is a sensor that helps us to detect whether there are people in the room or not. Light management is an important part of a good lighting design, of a proper lighting design. Another use case, another example for a good application in educational institutions and conference rooms in schools, or like trade shows that we have here, or the CAP next door. So people are learning everywhere. People are coming together, listening to each other, talking to each other. And they have to go, or they are allowed to go, where we've got these rooms, these learning spaces. And if we, for example, got an event on the first floor, we need a staircase. And staircases and elevators need to be illuminated as well, properly, of course. And there are numerous ideas on how to make stairs visible. But it's important to install the right lighting and to make sure that the illumination of the staircases is also safe for the people who are using it. We, of course, do not want our kids in schools to fall down the stairs. And so we try to make sure that they are properly illuminated by, for example, making sure that the shadows of the individual steps are easy to recognize, to see. So, for example, you can have a light band at each step, for example, or you have to, for example, find the right position for the light so that the surface of the steps are also illuminated properly. Without causing any disturbances or any obstacles. So for educational institutions, the lighting level is higher than, for example, in normal staircases in administrative buildings. Why is that? If we assume that students have their breaks at the same time, all at the same time, and they are using the staircases all at the same time. So this is why it needs to be brighter in those areas. Sometimes they're also sitting outside. The hallways are wide, So it definitely makes sense to plan with an illuminance that is not only suitable for a normal corridor, but to make it a bit lighter or to increase the light level there, so it's easier for them to read there in those hallways or in those corridors. It's all included in 12646, but it's also included in our brochure. You find valuable information in our brochure. Schools, conference rooms are rooms where people meet, people who sometimes don't know the area or don't know the room. This is especially the case for conference rooms. Where are the escape routes, for example, in case of a blackout? So this is why safety lighting is also very important, something that we have to keep in mind when doing our design. How can you make sure that escape route signs are illuminated properly? Where do we position them? This is all part of a good lighting design. And you find information on that, of course, also in our brochure, including all the values that you have to comply with following if you want to follow DIN 464, 838, or 12193. So if we talk about schools, what are the important terms? We also set up a glossary for you, for example, maintenance values, evenness, and also illuminance. So we need to make sure that the students recognize each other or can see each other properly. For example, a head can be modeled using a cylinder, and this surface of the cylinder needs to be illuminated properly. So this is why we work with those cylindrical illuminance values, and this is an important part of high-quality light design. Choosing the right models, choosing the right color rendering, choosing the right light color. The limit value UGR also plays an important role when selecting the right lamp for your lighting system, your lighting installation. What about the outdoors? Parking spots, schoolyards, also an important part when you want to plan a school or conference center or a university or other learning rooms or other learning spaces. Of course, we have to think about the illumination of those spaces as well. Staircases, entrances. It all needs to be illuminated properly, and it needs to be safe, of course, and maybe also rainproof if it's outside. Here you find the most important key values and facts and figures. I'm talking a lot about standards and regulations. What are the existing standards? What is quoted? We also provided you with an overview in our brochure, especially when it comes to public buildings, AMEF, for example. Technical information when it comes to lighting of public buildings, an own guideline. But this is very close to the 12646 standard. 12464 standard. ASR, working space regulations. And this is very similar to the standards as well. It refers to working spaces and occupational safety. Plus, we also set up information for for other areas. For example, the Melanop effect of light and the spectral effect, and also design information on the technical specification of DIN 67600 can also be found in our brochure. Great overview, very informative. So if you want to talk to a customer and if you want to inform the customer about what's important when it comes to lighting, for example, if you want to do homeschooling or if you want to work from home, mobile working. For those of you who want to find out what to keep in mind if you want to work from home, what about your own desk at home? We set up a brief questionnaire for you. And it's self-explanatory. It's easy to understand. You can easily find out whether you've ticked off all the boxes of that list if you want to work from home. Light, home office, mobile working, lighting, home office lighting, homeschooling. So 72 pages with a lot of information. It's not too much. Numerous pictures, easy to read, easy to use if you want to think about proper lighting for learning. Not for new learning, but for learning. What about can you shed a new light on learning? It can be downloaded in German and in English on our website. This is our brochure. This is our presentation. You can use it, you can download it. And now I would like to thank you for your attention. And I hope you use the material that we provide on our website in the future. Thank you.